Hello, my friends. Subscribe and like. Denied a spot at my siblings' nuptials, I escaped on a trip when the big day turned into chaos. Every relative desperately attempted to get in touch with me. The narrator Adam is blindsided when he finds out he's not invited to his sister Rachel's wedding. There was no fight, no falling out, just a cold, emotionless text that read like a form letter. Hey, the guest list is finalized and we had to make some tough cuts. Hope you understand. Love you. Adam read it over and over again, stunned. Tough cuts? He wasn't some third cousin or distant family friend. He was her brother. He'd been there for Rachel through every major moment in her life. Late-night crying sessions after breakups, helping her move out of toxic apartments, even covering half her rent when she hit a rough patch. And now she couldn't even be bothered to include him in the most important day of her life? Confused and hurt, Adam called their mom, hoping there was some sort of mix-up. She answered cheerfully, but when he brought up the message, her tone changed. "Oh, honey, it's just a wedding. Don't make a big deal out of this." Those words lit a fuse in him. His mother spoke to him like he was being immature, like his pain was unjustified. When he pointed out that Rachel had invited over 150 people, she gave a half-hearted chuckle and muttered something about how weddings were expensive, and maybe they just assumed he'd understand. That was it. That was the moment Adam realized he was never going to get the acknowledgement, let alone the apology that he deserved. He saw the entire scenario playing out. He'd complain, they'd downplay it, and in a few weeks, he'd be expected to let it all go because family is family. But not this time. Instead of sulking or fighting for a place he should have never had to earn, Adam made a choice. If his family didn't want him there, fine. He opened his laptop, searched for flights, and booked himself a week at a luxury resort in the Caribbean. If Rachel was going to have the happiest day of her life without him, then Adam was going to have the best week of his life, with ocean views, room service, and not a single trace of family drama. While Rachel walked down the aisle, Adam was 30,000 feet in the air, legs stretched, glass of champagne in hand, headed toward paradise. He wasn't hiding. He wasn't licking his wounds. He was celebrating. First class, ocean view suite, spa treatments, a week of peace. He'd told himself for years that a trip like this was too expensive or impractical, but now it felt like the only thing that made sense. As the plane soared over the ocean, Adam took a perfectly staged photo, his feet up, cocktail in hand, blue sky outside the window. The caption? "Yes, I got cut from the guest list, but I think I'll survive." He didn't tag anyone, didn't mention names, but he didn't need to. Within minutes, the post exploded. Cousins reacted with laughing emojis. His Aunt Teresa, the only one in the family who ever truly had his back, commented,
"Good for you. Should have taken me with you." But the reaction that landed exactly as he'd hoped came from his mother. 3 texts, back to back. "Where are you? Are you seriously missing your sister's wedding over this? You're being petty." Petty? No, petty would have been crashing the wedding in a white suit and giving a speech.
This was calm. This was classy. This was setting boundaries.
So Adam snapped a photo of the pristine beach from his suite, the kind of view you see on postcards. White sand, turquoise water, perfect sunlight. He sent it to her, said nothing else, and turned off his phone. For once in his life, he wasn't going to let guilt steer the wheel. For once, he was choosing himself. No apologies, no explanations, just peace. And it felt incredible. As Rachel's wedding chaos buzzed back home, Adam was living out a dream he didn't even know he needed. The moment he stepped out of the airport, the warm Caribbean air hit him, thick with salt, sunshine, and the faint scent of tropical flowers. A sleek black SUV was already waiting for him, complete with cold towels and bottled water. He sank into the leather seat and exhaled, realizing just how long he had gone without taking a breath that deep. The resort was something straight out of a travel magazine. Towering palm trees swayed gently above an open-air lobby where staff greeted him with a cocktail before he even reached the check-in desk. Every detail screamed luxury and calm. Exactly the opposite of what family gatherings had become. When he opened the door to his suite, he stood frozen for a moment. Floor-to-ceiling windows overlooked a private beach, and a massive king-size bed sat in the middle of a room bathed in golden afternoon light. For the first time in a long time, he felt like the center of something good. Adam tossed his bags down, stepped onto the balcony, and just stood there, letting the waves and wind wrap around him. Then, with a small smirk, he pulled out his phone and snapped a photo of the scene. Sun-drenched view, untouched sand, peaceful bliss. The caption, when one door closes, another opens. Preferably to a beachside suite with unlimited margaritas. He uh, didn't need to check who saw it. He wanted them to see, not for revenge, but for revelation. He was finally putting himself first, and it felt right. He wasn't an afterthought anymore. Not here, not now. He was the priority, and he wasn't giving that up for anyone. Later that afternoon, Adam was stretched out on a sunbed beside an infinity pool, sipping a crisp martini and listening to the waves roll in like applause. No noise, no demands, just the rhythmic soundtrack of the sea and the quiet glow of contentment. Every so often, he picked up his phone, not to check in with family, but to watch the growing storm of reactions to his vacation posts. Comments and emojis rolled in from cousins, college friends, even old coworkers. People were cheering him on, laughing, throwing in their own stories of family drama. The validation felt oddly healing. And then he saw it. Rachel had seen his post. The same sister who told herself he didn't need to be at her wedding had just scrolled through a photo of him basking on a tropical balcony, drink in hand, peace written all over his face. Adam chuckled to himself. He pictured her in some stuffy bridal suite, hair halfway done, surrounded by drama, nerves, and relatives, sipping cheap champagne while trying to hold it all together. She might be the bride today, but he was the one living like royalty. The irony wasn't lost on him. The person they chose to exclude was now the most composed, relaxed, and probably happiest person in the family that day. He leaned back, took another slow sip, and whispered to no one in particular, "Enjoy your special day, sis. I hope it's everything you asked for." But deep down, he knew she hadn't expected this, and that made it even better. As the sun began to set, casting a golden glow over the pool and ocean, Adam was just about to doze off when his phone started buzzing, and it didn't stop. At first, he figured it was just more likes and comments on his latest post, maybe a few jealous reactions, a snarky emoji or two, but when he glanced at the screen, his brow furrowed. There were missed calls and texts from almost every family member, his mom, Rachel, cousin Jake, even Uncle Rob. The kind of people who hadn't said a word to him in months were now suddenly blowing up his phone. Call after call, text after text, the messages came in a wave, urgent, chaotic, and strangely desperate. He hesitated, then finally opened one. It was from his mom. "Call me, it's an emergency." He rolled his eyes. Emergency? What now? Did someone realize he actually meant it when he said he wasn't coming? Then came a message from Jake that stopped him mid-sip. "Dude, you are not going to believe what just happened." Now, Adam was curious. He sat up on the lounger, unlocked his phone, and started scrolling through the messages. And there it was, the unexpected gift from the universe. Rachel's wedding had completely fallen apart. Jake's next text confirmed it. The groom walked out in the middle of the reception. Huge fight. Just left. Adam blinked, then laughed. The wedding he was deemed unworthy of attending had just imploded, and suddenly the one person they thought they didn't need was the first one they all turned to. He leaned back in his chair, eyes on the ocean, phone buzzing nonstop beside him, and let the irony wash over him like the waves. The family meltdown continued to pour in, text after text, voicemail after voicemail. Everyone who had ghosted him from the wedding was now suddenly in a panic, acting like he was the only person who could fix the chaos. Jake messaged again, dropping more details. "Uncle Rob and your dad got into a screaming match. Grandma's crying. The venue shut down the bar early. It's a total mess." Adam could barely keep a straight face. He refreshed his message feed, and there it was. Rachel's message. "Please, answer your phone. I need you." He almost laughed. This was the same sister who had decided he wasn't worth a seat at the wedding. The same one who sent him a generic, soulless text about tough guest list cuts. And now she needed him. His mother followed shortly after. "Adam, please. This is a family crisis. Rachel is devastated. Where are you? Where was he? Adam was at a 5-star resort, drink in hand, enjoying ocean breezes and zero responsibility. He was exactly where he needed to be. So he crafted the only response he felt they deserved: short, sharp, and satisfying. Sorry, I'm a little busy enjoying my overreaction. Hope the wedding was fun. Then, with a calm breath and a steady finger, he did something he'd never done before. He blocked Rachel. He blocked his mother, even blocked Jake, just in case they tried using him to get through. Next, he turned his phone on Do Not Disturb, waved over the bartender, and ordered another cocktail. While his family spiraled into damage control, Adam leaned back in his chair, completely unbothered, finally free from the guilt, the drama, and the years of being the fixer. This time, he wasn't saving anyone but himself. The next morning, Adam woke up to the sound of waves gently crashing on the shore and the scent of sea air drifting through the open doors of his beachfront suite. He stretched, yawned, and for a brief, perfect moment, forgot there was chaos brewing back home. But then his phone buzzed. Despite blocking most of his family, over 20 missed calls from unfamiliar numbers had slipped through. Voicemails had somehow piled up overnight, relentless little reminders that the people who'd once dismissed him were now desperate for his help. Curiosity got the better of him. Against his better judgment, Adam played the first message. It was his mother, voice sharp with frustration and panic. I don't know what you think you're doing, but this isn't the time for one of your tantrums. Rachel is devastated, and this family needs to stick together right now. He rolled his eyes and hit delete. Next came Rachel, voice trembling, sniffling. I don't understand why you're doing this. You're my brother. I need you. Please just call me back. Click. Deleted. Then came the unexpected one. From Jake, whispering like he was hiding in a closet. Dude, Mom and Aunt Lisa are planning to show up at your apartment when you get back. Just a heads up. Also, Grandma keeps saying the wedding was cursed because you weren't there. It's hilarious. That one he saved was too good not to. Adam tossed his phone onto the bed and walked out onto the balcony. The morning sun cast a golden shimmer over the water, and for the first time in years, he felt completely unburdened. Back home, they were scrambling, desperate, panicked. But here he was finally free. He snapped a photo of his breakfast, fluffy pancakes, tropical fruit, a sparkling mimosa, and posted it with one simple caption: starting my day stress-free. Hope everyone back home is doing okay. He smiled, took a slow sip of his mimosa, and watched the tide roll in. Let them feel what it's like to be left out, because now they were the afterthought. Midway through the afternoon, Adam was lounging beneath a shaded cabana, a tropical drink in hand, when his phone buzzed again. But this time, it wasn't spam, and it wasn't guilt. It was a name he actually didn't mind seeing: Melissa, his cousin. Melissa had always been the one person in the family who had a brain and a backbone. She never sugarcoated things, and she was one of the few who had reached out after he'd been excluded from the wedding. Her message was short and intriguing. Okay, I know you're mad, and you have every right to be, but you have to hear what happened after the wedding. Call me. You're gonna love this. Adam raised an eyebrow. If Melissa was insisting something was worth hearing, it probably was. He called her. She answered on the first ring, sounding like she was practically vibrating with excitement. Oh my God, you're finally answering. Are you sitting down? Adam glanced around at the peaceful ocean view, the breeze dancing across the waves, and the chilled cocktail in his hand. Yeah, he said with a smirk. I think I'm in the perfect place for this. And then she let loose. It turns out Rachel's wedding hadn't just gone off the rails. It had completely derailed and exploded. After the groom walked out, Rachel had a full-blown, cinematic-level meltdown. Melissa described it as screaming, sobbing, throwing things, and blaming everyone in sight. Things escalated when Grandma, of all people, stepped in. In front of everyone, she pointed a finger at Rachel and said, "If you'd treated your family better, you wouldn't be alone in a wedding dress right now." Adam nearly choked on his drink, but it didn't stop there. Melissa went on to describe how Adam's mom got into a screaming match with Aunt Lisa right there in the middle of the chaos, each blaming the other for the day's collapse. Then, in a desperate move, His mother tried to reach out to the groom's family, only to be met with a cold smile and a firm response. This is your issue now. Melissa was breathless with laughter as she recounted it, and Adam just sat there, drink in hand, soaking it all in like sunshine. So where does that leave Rachel? He asked casually. Melissa sighed, still sobbing, still blaming everyone but herself. Last I heard, she was talking about salvaging the wedding somehow. But let's be real. It's done. Adam took a slow sip and replied with the most honest words he'd spoken all trip. You know what the best part is? I don't care. Melissa roared with laughter. Honestly, I don't blame you. Karma did its job. Adam grinned, thanked her for the call, and hung up, feeling lighter than he had in years. The family had wanted a wedding without him. Now they were left with a wreck they couldn't clean up. And Adam? He was in paradise, watching the sunset, knowing he had made the best decision of his life. Even after everything, after the groom walked out, after the wedding fell apart, after the entire family lost their collective minds, somehow they still expected Adam to return and fix it. That morning, as Adam lounged in a white robe on his private balcony, enjoying fresh fruit and espresso, his phone lit up once again with a flood of messages. They had shifted tone from frantic to manipulative. Adam, enough is enough. Call your mother. We all need to come together and talk about this like a family. Rachel is broken. You not being here made it worse. This family can't move forward until you come home. Adam stared at the screen, then looked up at the clear blue sky, the waves gently lapping the shore, and the untouched mimosa at his side. The nerve, after they had deliberately cut him out of one of the most important events of their lives. They now expected him to be the emotional glue to piece it all back together. Not this time. Cousin Melissa messaged again. Probably the only one left he hadn't blocked. Hey, just a heads up, your mom is trying to pull the family together for some kind of discussion when you get back. Adam didn't even hesitate. He tapped out a reply with total calm. Thanks for the warning, but I won't be there. Melissa responded, confused. Wait, what do you mean? He smiled and typed back, I'm extending my trip. They cut me out, so I'm cutting myself off. He could practically hear her gasp through the screen. A few seconds later, Melissa replied with a mix of shock and admiration. Okay, that's iconic. Tell me everything when you get back, whenever that is, lol. But the best part? Adam wasn't sure when or if he'd go back. He set his phone down, opened his laptop, and with a few satisfying clicks, officially extended his stay another full week. No drama, no family talks, no fixing anything, just him, the water, and his own peace. Before heading to the beach, he sent one final message to the family group chat. Oh, so now you want me around. Sorry, I'm too busy enjoying my overreaction. Good luck cleaning up your own messes. Then, for the final time, he blocked every number. He took a deep breath, ordered another drink, and let the sun warm his skin. No guilt, no obligation, no more playing the family's emotional safety net, just peace. And it was glorious. With his phone finally silenced and the last of his family contacts blocked, Adam exhaled fully, for the first time in what felt like years. He didn't have to brace for another guilt trip. He didn't have to decode passive-aggressive texts or mediate between screaming relatives. All of that noise was gone, and in its place, sun, stillness, serenity. Adam leaned back in his beach lounger, drink in hand, the warm breeze sweeping over his skin like a gentle reminder, this is what peace feels like. He wasn't worried about how his absence was being spun back home. He didn't care if Rachel was sulking in her crumpled dress or if his mom was holding emergency family meetings to save face. That chapter had closed the moment they decided he wasn't worth a seat at the wedding table. Now he was writing a new one where he came first. That evening, he scheduled a sunset cruise and had a 5-star dinner by the sea. As the sun dipped below the horizon, painting the sky in streaks of gold and coral, Adam sipped a glass of wine and let himself smile. Not out of spite, but from pure contentment. At one point, he pulled out his phone, not to scroll, not to check messages, but to snap one last photo. A perfect shot of the ocean view, framed by candlelight, and the remnants of the best steak he'd ever eaten. He uploaded it with one final caption, 0 regrets. Then he turned off his phone, not out of anger, just because he didn't need it anymore. There was no more tension, no resentment, no weight of expectations dragging him down. He stretched out his legs, closed his eyes, and thought to himself, no guilt, no tension, no regrets, just peace. It wasn't just a good decision, it was the best decision he'd ever made.